Recently, we talked about the dire situation in consulting and the bad experience a lot of rookies in the industry have. That has obviously a lot of graduates questioning if they should still go for a consulting job. Was this crisis a temporary hiccup? Or is GenAI destroying consulting?
T1000, advanced prototype.
Or have clients finally figured out that consulting is bogus?
It's all bullshit!
Let's discuss our outlook and what it means if you're applying to consulting now. Alright, so for an ambitious student or an MBA graduate, consulting is usually at the top of the list for career choices. But if you watched our video on the crisis in consulting, you might have changed your mind. Let's briefly summarize the situation. The consulting industry was booming until 2022, and consulting firms handed out offers like crazy. But at the same time, the project pipeline dried up and the boom was over. So we had a record number of new joiners, which coincided with a lack of work for them. The results were, many of the young consultants struggled to find projects. They did very little paid client work and missed out on the steep learning curve. Performance reviews got harsher, and many more people that were on the edge got counseled to leave. And even high performers saw their bonuses cut or promotions delayed. All that left many frustrated and wondering what's going on. Is this a permanent shift, or will it all pick up again soon? And most importantly, for those who are about to start their career, should you still join consulting? Now, if we were to summarize our position on this question, we would say yes. Unequivocally, yes. It's a great idea to join consulting, and it's a great time to apply. And here is why. First, like the economy as a whole, consulting is also subject to business cycles. All in all, it's a decade-long growth story, but around that are shorter-term peaks and troughs. And now, it appears as if we're coming out of the slump, slowly but surely. When we talk to MBB partners, we hear that after a really tough 2023 and a slow start to 2024, we're finally seeing some movement, so the demand is pointing upwards. The other side of the equation is the supply. A lot of young or mid-level consultants have left in the past couple of months. A bunch of them were counseled to leave, following very harsh performance reviews. Even average performers sometimes got a separation offer, so a couple of months of salary for leaving. And quite a few top performers also left on their own terms. Many corporates are still recruiting heavily, and there are attractive opportunities out there. So all in all, you see there's more project work and fewer consultants to compete with. Which means anyone joining now will be much more likely to have the classic consulting experience, with intense project work, potentially a lot of travel, and a steep learning curve. And in fact, we're seeing it as we speak. The rookies that have joined recently, even in regions that felt the crisis hard, are often all staffed on paid client work, and that's a great sign. Meanwhile, those that joined in 2022 or 2023 and who are maybe already senior consultants are still struggling. They have less project experience under their belt because they've lived through the worst of the crisis, but at the same time, those guys are also more expensive, given that they are more senior on paper. So it's much easier to staff a cheap rookie, and the performance difference may not be big enough to make up for the higher cost of the more senior consultant. So it's really the class of 2022 and 2023 that was unlucky. If you're applying now, you'd probably start only in 3 months at the earliest and more likely in 6 months. And by then, the world looks entirely different once again. That means now is a great time to join, and you probably have a couple of great years ahead. Now, we always talk about the crisis in consulting, but it's actually not so one-dimensional. Yeah, the overall project pipeline wasn't as full, but that doesn't mean the situation was the same in all areas. Firstly, there are geographies in which it was worse than in others. Traditionally strong markets in the US and Europe had a tough time, but more emerging markets fared better. This has also been confirmed by our viewers. Secondly, there are some functional or industry niches that tend to perform better. Our viewers also report that in the niche of their firm, the future looks promising. The same is true within the large consulting firms. Not all sectors will do great, but you will also always have pockets of growth. If, for example, you work on advanced analytics in insurance in the UK, your product pipeline might look great. Meanwhile, if you're focused on real estate development in China, you could be up for a bad time. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And while we're on the topic of growing segments in consulting, there's one thing we need to discuss, and that is GenAI. We actually made a whole video on the role of GenAI in consulting and whether it will replace consultants. Now a lot of guys commenting on our videos seem to think so, that we'll just plop in an AI and it will do the job of a consultant.
Desire is irrelevant. I am a machine.
Now in our opinion, this is not happening at all. Maybe once there's general artificial intelligence, but then there won't be any jobs anywhere anymore anyway. And humanity is most likely doomed.
Skynet begins to learn at a geometric rate. It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th.
But until then, AI will make the job of a consultant easier. Maybe streamline some back office processes. Most importantly though, if anything, AI will be a growth driver for consulting. The CEO of BCG claims that in 2024, 20% of his firm's business will come from GenAI or AI-related projects. Now, whether that's legit or whether he counts every project in which they wrote AI somewhere in the proposal, that's debatable. But one thing is for sure. For the foreseeable future, consultants will be busy talking to executives about AI. What it is, what the use cases for the business could be, what profiles they should hire, and how it could reshape the organization. If AI lives up to its hype, there are monumental shifts underway. These things don't happen at the click of a button, but require major corporate transformations. And rest assured, there will be plenty of consultants on the scene working on that. So all in all, we're very confident in saying, yes, if you want to join consulting, it's still a great idea. Especially now, since you can get in on the ground floor and probably have some great years ahead. Sure, you can't predict the future, and some cohorts are dealt a bad hand, but all in all, the future of consulting still looks promising. So, are you interested in joining consulting, or are you looking for alternatives? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and activate the bell for more content like this. Let us know in the comments below if you have any questions, or if there's a topic you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.